everyone, and welcome back to today's video. So today we are drawing Kaeya from Genshin Impact. I don't know a ton about the game, but I do have friends who play it, and overall it seems really pretty and the designs are super cool. Personally, Kaeya is one of my favorite characters because he uses the color blue a lot in his color design, and blue is one of my favorite colors. Today I'm deciding to use a different rendering method, which is the grayscale method, which I'll get into in a bit. First of all, we have the sketch here, which I basically just did really messy line art. When I tend to do these painting videos and these painting styles, I tend to not use line art because it just makes a lot of work for me. And I prefer the slow rendering process, which this rendering process was slow. It took about 10 hours, but there's a reason for that, which I'll get to. I decided to hatch in and basically shade the parts that needed more depth, and I'm going around using my usual sketching / good boy brush and just erasing the things that need to be cleaned up. Then I turn off the background using my program Procreate, which is what I always use for all my videos, and I'm starting to put in the grayscale colors / tones. The point of grayscale is to decide what the values are using a scale from black to white and gray, and just to figure out what the contrast is going to be throughout your piece. This can create more cohesion, as you can have colors that aren't sort of overlapping and making sure your tones are, in general, a lot more thought out. I do enjoy this method, however, I don't do it very often because it takes double the amount of time, because I will end up putting down my grayscale colors, then cleaning up my sketch, which is the painting / rendering stage, then I'll re-add my colors afterwards, and then clean up the sketch again from there. Or I guess not really the sketch at that point, but the final piece. It takes a lot longer because you have to pretty much render twice, and rendering is just a style of how cleaned up you want your art piece to be. It's not necessarily a set like art style, quote unquote, you could say. It's just sort of a method of painting, at least digitally. And you could do it traditionally too, I suppose. But I really do enjoy doing grayscale, even though it takes a lot longer. It helps me sort of figure out what my quote unquote colors are going to be without actually deciding what those colors are. But the one downside of grayscale coloring is, personally for me, I tend to make things too desaturated, and I often have to go over them with their blending modes to make sure that they sort of become a lot brighter. Here I am putting in the hair and the skin tone, and I will adjust the skin tone a little later in the video. But I really enjoy how his hair turned out. It's super like shiny, and I like that. And the thing about grayscale, as I was saying, is that my colors tend to be either too warm, too cool, or too desaturated, which means gray. So a lot of the time, to combat that, I tend to add a lot of funky colors and use multiply, hard light, and color blend modes to adjust that. So as you can see, at least in his little fur suit, or I guess his scarf, you could say, I added a lot of purples and blues to really make it stand out. And as I'm doing these final renderings, I want to ask, who's your favorite Genshin Impact character? And perhaps I'll draw them. I hope you all enjoyed this video and the speed paint as the winter is getting colder, and as Kaeya is the best CRYO man. I'll see you all in the next video. Bye-bye!